recommendation of the administration and readmit student number R-08/23-1 into Dinwiddie County Public Schools.
Madam
Yeah,
Chair,
we need a second to that.
second.
All right. A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move that we deny the request of the parent to readmit student number R/08/23-2 into Dinwiddie County Public Schools.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the recommendation of administration and readmit student number R-08/23-3.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the recommendation of administration and readmit student number R-08/23-4.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move that we honor the parents' request for students REL 08/23-1 and REL -08/23-2 from compulsory school attendance with Dinwiddie Public Schools.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. The expenditure reports.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the expenditure reports as presented.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion does carry. Minutes.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of June 13th, 2023 and June 27th, 2023.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Board matters. Cost of adult meals.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, board members.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
FNS Instruction 782-5, Revision 1, specify that school food authorities must, to the greatest extent possible, not subsidize meals provided to adults with school funds. Because we are a CEP school, the lunch prices must be the free reimbursement rate, the performance-based reimbursement, and the per meal value of USDA foods. For us, that lunch cost would be an increase to $4.35. Again, because we are CEP, the breakfast price must be greater than the student-free reimbursement rate, which that price will go to $2.55. I'm recommending that the adult meal prices for school year 23-24 be set as follows. Breakfast $2.55, lunch $4.35. That includes the additional 2-cent reimbursement for the severe need lunch rate. We need board approval.
Any questions about the adult meals?
CEP, what does that stand?
That is the community eligibility provision where all students receive meals at no cost.
Okay.
I don't have any questions. There's a motion in order.
Okay. Madam Chair, I move that we accept the additional increase in cost of the adult meals as presented.
A second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you. Student fees.
Madam Chair, I don't see anybody from the high school here that can speak to. I did send you the information about the high school fees. If you want to table that and we can come back to that,
Okay.
to give him some time to get here. We do have a member from the technology team here, but if we could just table it and come back to it to
Okay.
allow him some travel time.
Do we need a motion to table it, Ms. Colson?
Do we need a
We
motion
need
to
a
table
motion to
that?
table it. I need a motion
Okay.
to table that.
Are you gonna move it down?
I'd
on
like
the
to just
agenda?
move it down and just come back to it
Okay.
if he comes, he shows up. Then we don't need to do anything with
No,
it.
no
Okay.
motion, okay. Safety audits.
That's Mr. Walters.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So each year, Section 279.8, Title 22.1 of the Virginia Code requires that school divisions and schools. Is it not? Okay. It requires that schools and school divisions perform safety audits and then present a safety plan to the school board and to the superintendent for approval and certification. Yeah, that's it right there, the green one. So I'm coming to you today two-part. One, to talk about the school and division safety audit process and how we went through that and how we're going through that and how it's going to finish up in our next steps. But also to get approval for the DCPS crisis plan that I had sent out. And so then we can go ahead and get it certified by Dr. Weston so that we're all in up to code on that. So I'll start with the school and division safety audit process, which is the PowerPoint that I think you have in front of you. As I said, Section 279.8 of Title 221 of the Virginia Code. Oh, can I? Okay. Lord, sorry. Of the Virginia Code requires an annual safety audit, which is a written assessment of the safety conditions of each school and the division as a whole. So we're going through that process, and these are the components that we've examined as we went through that process. First are the school and safety division surveys. They were completed annually by the principals and the superintendent or their designee, which was me, on or before August 31st, which we've done. Whoops, I think I might have skipped the page. I'm sorry. Oh, no, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. Second component will be the crisis management plans. Now, the crisis management plans were a little different this year. I was looking through the DCJS guidelines, and one of the things they suggested is that you should go through each crisis management plan and develop two copies. The copies would be the orange copy, which has all of the sensitive information, maybe cell phones, evacuation routes, and things of that nature. Our new collaborative response graphics that show the exact area of the school and divided into quadrants and all that. But you should also develop a green copy. And that green copy would be the same plan with all those things redacted. According to the Virginia Code, you can redact that sensitive information that could pose a threat to the school, and then that copy can be available for the public should they request that. So I thought that was a really good idea. So we spent some time this summer going through the crisis management plans for each of the schools, and also for the county, for DCPS, and we made an orange and a green copy of each one of those plans. So I thought that was important, and I think that it's going to serve us well if parents or stakeholders want to see exactly what our plans are in the event of crises. We can then give them a copy of that without fear of giving out sensitive information to the public. So the crisis management plans, they're being presented to the school board, which we're doing tonight for your approval, and then they're going to be certified by the superintendent of schools, Dr. Weston. The school crisis plans, after this meeting, will be certified by myself and the principals. So we will be in compliance at that point with our crisis management plans for the year. The third component of the audit would be the Virginia School Survey and Climate and Working Conditions. This was completed in the spring. It was administered to staff at all 5 elementary schools and then students and staff at the middle school. The DCJS rotates back and forth between the middle school and the high schools of the state. And next year, or this year, the high school will complete this same survey. The last component there is the safety inspection checklist, which we do every 3 years for our schools, and this was the year to do it. So we did it in 2020, then 2023. We'll do it again in 2026. It was performed jointly by myself, the lead SRO, Sergeant Dooley at the time, and the admin of the school. We were able to go through the school and look at some of the things the safety features that we have and identify them, but also identify some of the things that we need to work on and that we need to improve upon. And that's going to be important when we start working on the division safety audit, because we need to know where we need to focus our resources to get our schools, safer. We can always make them safer. So it's important that the principals are involved in that. So what I did was I took this chart from the DCJS on the next page, and it talks about what the school level responsibilities are and the division level responsibilities are annually towards these safety audits, whether it be for the school or for the division. So the school level responsibilities, and they've done a really good job of getting these done. The first is to administer the Virginia School Survey, which they did on climate and working conditions. Second is to complete the school safety survey, which all the principals did, I'm proud to say, well in advance of the deadline. So we had that information very early. Third is to review the safety audit components, which are the school crisis management plan, which they all did, the school safety inspection checklists, which we worked on together, the school safety surveys, and then their individual school climate and working conditions. So the principals were able to, with their assistants, they were able to work through all that stuff. And again, we got that in well before the deadline, so kudos goes out to them. It makes the process much smoother and much more effective if you can get the information early. They complete their school safety audit, and then they submitted that school safety audit to the Division Safety Committee. And that would be to me right now, but the committee has been formed, and we're going to take a look at that information. Division level responsibilities annually would be to submit the crisis management guide to the school board for review and approval. So that's been submitted to you for review and approval today. Collect and review the safety audits, which we've done, and then certify the completion of all of these areas of the safety audit, and they're listed there. The next steps would be to develop a division safety committee, which we've developed. If you see, we tried to, I got with the principals and we decided who would we like. There's not a standard, but we decided who do we think would be effective on this committee. And those are the names we came up with. We have representations from the high school, the middle school, an elementary school, and then facilities operation, technology, and transportation. So we plan to meet August 29th to review each school's safety audits, so that we can put together a division safety audit and start working towards a safety plan, which we can then present to you in December. So going forward, here's our timeline. The division safety audit, we'll work on that between now and November. And then the division safety plan, we're hoping to present to you at the November or December school board meeting for your approval. So I know that was a lot of information, and it is a lot of information, and we tried to make it succinct as possible, but it's difficult sometimes because there's so many different moving parts. I think that we'll all come together and come into view in December when we present the safety plan. You'll see all these things come together as one.
Does that include evacuation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The division safety plan, crisis management, and each schools does talk about evacuation. When we send that out to the public, when they request that, we don't put that information in there because I think that could make the children very vulnerable in that situation. And also, we're one of the things we're working on too is a reunification plan. After the evacuation, how do we get these children back with their parents or their guardians? So we're talking about that at DCPS in one of our admin classes. Is starting that process, which is very, as you can imagine, it's tedious and intricate. So unless there's any questions, are there any questions that I can answer besides that?
I had a couple of
Yes,
parents
ma'am.
a while ago suggest that, or ask a question that, we don't have like metal detectors, but we have wands, and wondered if possibility of just random occasional wanding at this door and then next month go to another school and try another door. Just
Sure.
obviously that doesn't give us total coverage, but it just gives us some, children may know that there would be wanding.
Yeah, that is a factor of environmental security, which basically is looking and seeing and keeping your eyes open, and also, selective wanding. We have talked about that in cabinet meetings about wanding, metal detectors. Also, they have now actual weapons detectors that you go through. It doesn't necessarily capture keys and things like that, but it captures
Yeah, that's nice.
heavier items. And I've seen those in action. We went to Newport News this summer to one of their alternative schools, and they had them there, and they were very impressed with them. Obviously, they're expensive, but if we felt as if we need them, I feel confident that Dr. Weston and the cabinet will come together and find a way to fund that. I don't know that we're at that point, although you don't know that you're at that point until something happens. But I think that it's something to keep in mind that we should start, thinking down those lines of random, because it's prevalent in our community.
Checking everybody every day is time sensitive and staff sensitive.
Yeah.
If we could have random checks at each school, and wands aren't very expensive, so.
No, and we have a number of wands that we use at some of the sporting events and things like that. So I think it's certainly something worth looking into. And
I would be very interested in, especially the weapon. We talked about it at the sporting events, when you have people, not necessarily for our students, but when you bring people from other communities into there, that people have to go through those, right?
yeah, that's when it gets dangerous, when you're not controlling who's coming into your
Yeah.
building. With a sporting event, really, if you pay $5, you get to come in.
It's so
Yeah.
full,
Yeah.
it'd just be nice for people to have to walk through something.
Absolutely. And a lot of places do that. A lot of schools around us do that already.
All right.
So, are there any other questions that I can answer?
I don't have a question. Ms. Pickman and Ms. Meredith asked a question. I'm just glad to see us actively working and going a little deeper, because it's just so sad to say that schools is not safe anymore. So you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Working on those things. We really need help.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And we have a lot of people in the schools, in the buildings, security officers, resource officers, and staff that work very hard to go that extra mile to make sure that we're doing the right things. And they make it much easier to do my job, I can tell you that. So thank you very much.
Okay.
The last order of business is I do need approval of the crisis management plan. I believe it was sent in advance. Did we send both versions? Okay. There were two versions sent, an orange and a green. It's not annotated on the front except for the word orange or green. It's just, that's how we know which one to send and which one not to send. So if there weren't any questions about that, I would like to try to get a board approval on the crisis management plan.
Any questions that you can think of on that plan?
Cheryl, have any questions?
If not, we need a motion to approve
Madam
the
Chair, I
crisis
move
management.
that. You ready? Madam Chair, I move that we accept the division's safety and audit plan coming from Mr. Walters.
And
I second it.
It would be the crisis management
crisis
plan.
management
Crisis
plan.
management.
Okay.
All in favor of approving the crisis management plan signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? And that is approved. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all very much.
Want to wrap back around to?
Yes, we can certainly do that. I'd like to ask if Mr. Ampe can come forward, and also Mr. Garnes. I did send you information about the increase in fees. First of all, for technology, increasing to cover the cost of our insurance to $30 for the middle and high school students. And then also, Mr. Garnes is here. I did share the information about wanting to increase the parking fees at the high school for the upcoming school year. So they're both here to speak to that, and you can both come up at the same time, and then we can, if you have any questions about that, I guess we can speak to the technology piece first. I did share with them, Tim, just about, we've become a bit of a risk when it comes to insurance companies because of the amount of damage that we've seen over the years, and this is one of the reasons why we're needing
Right.
parents to
Just one thing, I'm gonna add on to what Dr. Weston just said. One of the problems come up when you give devices to the students, they don't handle them as carefully as maybe us adults will, and it becomes a large number of breakage. So we've gotten a great number of breakage over the years, especially in the middle school area. And the compact, to help this situation where we had got insurance, whether it is accidental breakage insurance from Worth, a company that we've been using, but they had actually kicked us off of it because we had too high a breakage for them. That we was too much of a risk for them. But later on, we got more devices and newer ones, so that it went down. The price went down a little bit, allowed that, but still we had them all in house at the middle school now. So now, if we're going back to kind of compact all this cost of this breakage, is that we want to be able to cover being able to supply everybody with a device. Since you go to one, it's like a book, so you can't not provide a student with one because it's automatically becomes something that the student must have each day. So in order to support that, we got to make sure there is one available on the shelf for them to be given out, or they're repaired. They just need one every day. So in order to make sure that works, we have to come up with something to counteract that, some of that cost, and that's why that fee start to come up, so that we can support handling one-to-one for the students that we have now that's going to also be taking them home.
And the middle school is the only group that did not take them home previously. But we met with the middle school team, and we talked at length about, we looked up Virginia code, and we do have to issue textbooks and or devices that have the textbooks readily available. So, we did decide that sending them home was probably the right thing to do. And this does help offset the costs currently in our budget. So it would be $30 per student.
Correct.
So
And that is enough.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what it's like a
That's the
plan.
insurance,
It's
yeah.
an insurance plan. How did we do on taking them back up? Is that part of the loss, and do we have any that just disappear?
Well, at the high school this year, we didn't take those back up, but generally in the past, we've always taken them up, mainly due to updates that come over the summer that
Right.
needs to be done. This year, we didn't perceive that many updates coming for Chrome, so we wasn't pushed as much to take them back up this year, and we didn't on the high school level. But since the middle school, since we had them on cards, we still have all those sitting.
In the elementary, they don't take them home.
They
so
don't take them.
they're already there.
Okay.
And we do have a plan in place to support students who opt to not take them home.
All right, I guess it's my turn. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So at the high school, we have proposed to increase the parking pass fee to $40. It was previously $25 and $10 for any additional vehicle. And so what we found is that sometimes students have to drive a parent's vehicle or a sibling's or older sibling's vehicle, whatnot. So many of them would have to pay $35 anyway, and they would have a sticker. We are proposing that it's increased to $40, and we give them a hang tag for unlimited vehicles, and you can just move the hang tag to any vehicle. You know, in the morning you're rushing, you may have a flat tire or what have you. Something may happen. Mom may say you can't drive my vehicle. Yours is in the shop. Use your dad's. They can just pull the hang tag and use that hang tag for unlimited vehicles. So we're asking that you approve for us to increase that fee of $25 to $40, and like I said, it's for unlimited vehicles.
Mr. Garnes, the question came up about were we still planning to pursue the assigned space?
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't know.
Is
what
that
we
for
were- all students or
or just seniors, or
Everyone who drives has the opportunity.
so?
Now,
How
this is
many
our first.
spaces do you have?
I'm sorry.
How many spaces do you have?
I don't know. Mr. Wall, do you know how many they paying to see here? I don't know. Okay, I can't remember
He's got a
the
picture,
total
he's gonna sit
number
there and count.
right now off the top of my head, but it covers most of what we have covered previously through the years. So I don't think it'll be a problem. And I know we do have some spots where we can add additional numbers there as well. Because this is our first time, there were some other considerations maybe next year, allowing seniors to have first come, first serve or some things of that nature. But this is our first time. So the students had actually brought that up because their spot is their spot no matter what, even if it's not numbered. So we wanted to kind of help with that as well.
I had some concerns on it, and one was just that traditionally both teachers and students, there's a 30, 40, 50 absent a day, meaning those are spots are available for somebody else to pull in, but now they won't be.
Well,
So,
if
you
you
know.
haven't been assigned, then it's open to anybody. You know, if it has not been assigned, and what we're going to try to do, we're trying to keep it in a certain order. So if it has not been assigned, it's still an open space, an available space.
How will I know if it's assigned or not?
Because
I
we
come rolling in there and I'm going to park. How will I know if it's
You mean
Betty's
as a
spot
student,
and she's just absent?
right? I understand that.
I mean,
Because wouldn't they still have to have a tag hanging?
Yeah,
for
they
their-
Tag
you
with
should
the
be
number.
able
It'll
to
identify the
judge
number
by
that's on
the
the-
hang tag. But I know
on-
just a general person not paying attention to that would just driving the
Yeah, what
spot.
if I pull in there?
But the
Yeah.
hang tag is supposed to be the signifying point, and we will keep our record of all
Like
of
these are
that.
for, you have to have a
Right.
tag to park in these spaces. Yeah. The next thing that'll come up, I think, will be seniors who want to paint their spaces. That'll be your next
Mm-hmm. We've
question
already
next year.
Talked
They'll
about
say,
that.
can we paint the
there's
spaces?
pitfalls to that.
We're not there yet.
No.
But we've talked about that. We're not
Some
there yet.
schools do allow that.
Right.
them to paint their spaces.
Well, we talked about it one time and we called some other schools and they said Susie was going with Johnny and they broke up and Johnny
Maybe
wants
they
his
could
name
just-
off her
Right.
space.
Maybe they
And
could
we've
do
talked
sidewalk-
about it,
they
and
could
you
do
know-
Sidewalk chalk,
It's just like everything. There are pros and cons to everything.
yes.
So,
They can do sidewalk chalk.
right.
There's at least 259. I got a picture of spot number 259, so
Yeah,
that's a lot. But there's 3 different lots also. So I think there's probably closer to 500.
And I also say, we can make adjustments as well as needed. If we need to make some adjustments, take some of those numbers away. I mean, this is our first year
You're trying to do something.
for doing something like this.
any questions about student fees or?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the student fees as recommended.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? And the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And superintendent matters, enrollment updates.
Ms. Fleming's going to come and provide you an update as to enrollment. And you see she's smiling. That's always a good sign.
Yes, I am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We right now have a enrollment of 4,186 prospective students. So we certainly hope that this number is a sign of the year to come because our budget was built on 4,100. We finished the year with 4,104, I believe. So we have increased our enrollment over the summer for the upcoming year. What that means for us budgetary wise is that we will receive additional state funding if this continues through March. So we certainly hope that that's the case. Of course, we will evaluate the warm bodies that actually show up in the next couple of weeks and look at how those reports come in. We will get daily reports to ensure, the number of students, we're monitoring that. We have already added one new kindergarten position at Sutherland due to enrollment, and the enrollment there for that kindergarten class is still 20.
Oh, my
Wow.
gosh.
After
Even adding a teacher.
the new position. So
my gosh.
clearly we needed to add that strong
And we're all-
kindergarten
and we're all-
class. I don't
and we're
know
also-
what's going on.
We're
but-
watching their third grade too because those numbers are.
Yeah, we have a couple more that are, there's.
I'm not sure what she's doing over there, but they're all
Yeah.
going to Sutherland. Yes, great things. That's right, great things.
Yeah, so we will be watching these numbers as we progress over the next few weeks, but this is good news, it's positive news, and I'm
Yes.
very excited about it.
Yes, we are
Do
too.
you have any
Very good.
questions?
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Elementary field trips.
Yes, Ms. Valentine is going to come and share the elementary field trips.
Board Chair, Vice Chair, Board members, Superintendent Dr. Weston, good evening.
Good evening.
In accordance with the regulations for Policy IICA, The guidelines call for the Director of Elementary Education to present a list of required, proposed, or scheduled field trips to the superintendent and the school board on a biannual basis. I am requesting that you please review the list of proposed field trips for the 23-24 school year. None of the options listed require students to stay overnight or travel out of state. Please note that our goal is to ensure that through field trip experiences, our elementary students will have an opportunity to connect the learning that they receive inside the classroom with real-world, relevant, and meaningful experiences outside of the classroom. Additionally, field trips help to build background knowledge that some of our scholars may not otherwise have. It is important that our elementary field trips are aligned to the Virginia Standards of Learning to support students in transferring their learning from theory to practice. Lastly, field trips provide a platform to engage our students in culturally enriched experiences and exposure to an instructional classroom outside of their day-to-day world. As the year progresses, we hope to add new and enhanced field trip opportunities to the list. We will be sure to update and present a new list to you at that time. Thank you for your consideration. Now, if there are any questions, I will attempt to answer them to the best of my ability. And if you also need a physical copy of the field trip list, I do have those for you if you need them.
Ms. Golson, it's under, it's in there. Oh, you can't pull it up, okay. We can pull it up on ours, though.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the
Sure,
link's
I would
there.
love one.
Oh, she brought, okay.
Don't get nervous. Thank you.
It's okay. No worries. Thank you.
So these, the schools can pick from these, and are they required to do, or some of them they have to do at a certain grade, and some of them they can pick from?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the required ones are.
The ones listed at the top are the required,
Okay.
and the others are suggested or proposed. And I'm excited about, as I said, going forward, adding more to the list. Most of these are traditional that they've had exposure to for quite some time, which is still a great experiences, but a great experience, but we want to expand on that and give them opportunities to explore, areas that they have not had a chance to do before now.
True.
Were there any other questions?
Any questions for Ms. Valentine?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We need to,
No.
no. All right, professional development.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm here today to share the Dinwiddie County Public Schools 23-24 Professional Development Plan.
Thank you.
And I think Dr. Clay is giving you a copy of that now. So, let's see. There we go. Okay, so the mission of DCPS professional development is to provide meaningful learning opportunities for staff, which create an environment of excellence, equity, and integrity. The goals are centered around 4 priorities. The first priority is student success, which we will reach, challenge, and prepare every student for success in school and life, and each student will succeed academically, professionally, and civically. The second priority is caring culture, and we will create a positive, safe, and engaging learning and working environments. The third priority is exemplary staff. We will retain, recruit high-performing employees who put students first, practice inclusivity, and value to the organization. And the fourth priority is resource stewardship, which we will challenge the needs of our school communities and be responsible stewards of the public's investment. Okay, and the different professional development opportunities include our annual IDCPS Learning Conference, which is actually coming up this Thursday and Friday. We're very excited about that. We have 234 different sessions that we will have, and this conference provides a variety of professional development opportunities for all learners, and it's required sessions based on roles, responsibilities, as well as providing some choice for each learner. The academic school calendar, professional development days. We have 2 professional development days built into the academic school calendar in order to ensure a continued focus on division goals and priorities. One of these days will be focused on alignment through common and vertical planning, and the professional development days this year are November the 7th and March the 5th. All right, school-based professional development. Each principal will be working with their leadership team to provide ongoing professional development throughout the school year in their building. These sessions will focus on building needs and align with the DCPS goals. Principals and district leaders will fill out a professional development proposal form, which will serve as a tracking system for the professional development, as well as used to facilitate the request for recertification points. Staff will participate in training opportunities from outside professional development throughout the year, and this could include conferences that they attend. And then Summer Institute workshops, which we just finished that up last week, and which offers a variety of different professional development throughout the summer. And then targeted professional development, which would be ongoing professional development for certain roles throughout the academic school year. And then this past year, we added professional learning software, which is an online program which manages and tracks professional development. So teachers no longer have to keep those paper copies. Points will be issued through this program, and then if they attend a training or some type of professional development outside of Dinwiddie County, then they're able to scan those in, and it will provide them with a transcript as they need it. Okay, so focus areas. Each department has provided a list of priorities and goals with the audiences, topics, and intended outcomes. And the goals are directly linked to DCPS 2020 to 2027 comprehensive plan. And actually, Bonnie, I think you can click on DCPS 2020 to 2027. And I think it will maybe open it up. We'll see. It's not, maybe it's a.
You can see it, but we can't.
Well, what is happening when it opens up the comprehensive plan, and whatever that particular professional development, it is directly linked to that particular location in that document.
I love that.
So actually, it might be on. It might be on the next slide. Okay, no, it's it. Is yours moving and mine not? Yeah. I think we've lost connection is what happened. So anyway, we did try to make sure that as all of the professional development was listed, that it was directly attached to the comprehensive plan.
That's great.
And yeah.
It's okay. I think I only had 2 slides. So the other document that you have in some ways goes along with this. So another piece that we have put in place are conference travel procedures. So what I would say about both of these documents or plans is, one, we are very appreciative of teams that have worked on these because these are both brand new documents that we did not have in place before. So very appreciative of people who put their brains together to get that work done. And really, both of these are in an effort, a big focus for us is systems. So making sure there are systems in place. I like to say if we all left the table are we leaving our legacy? Are we setting the next group of people up for success, number one, so they don't have to recreate the wheel? But number two, it's really about setting clear expectations for everyone. So there's a process in place, and there's no question of what things they need to do as far as professional development or when they travel or go to a conference. So for the procedures, Christy Fleming and I'll say Christy did most of the research. I'm going to give you that credit. Looked at other school divisions and even other organizations that have this in place to see, okay, what kinds of things would go in this, just to make sure we had a clear process. So when a staff member wants to request a conference, number one, it needs to align with the professional development plan and our goals and our comprehensive plan. But two, these procedures just kind of give them a step-by-step from everything from, travel or staying in a hotel or food cost or what's reimbursed, what's not, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. When you're at a conference, how do you then share that information out? So it really just lays every piece of this process out for our staff, and I think makes it really clear and creates consistency, obviously. So any questions about either the professional development plan or the conference travel procedure? So I will say Ms. Robinson-Williams has already linked this to the intranet, so it'll be available for staff. We're also going to send the links out tomorrow through our professional development email, so they all have access to both items. So any questions?
Questions about this procedure? Anybody?
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
The next one is, we have Chris Wells here to talk to us about leave without pay updates, and this will just be a first reading.
We recently were reviewing our leave without pay policies after Emily had gone to a conference and they had a class on that. And it said that in Virginia code, Virginia kind of has like a mini FMLA plan where everyone should have be able to take a leave without pay. Our current code section, when we started looking at it, didn't completely comply with the Virginia code. It was only written to take care of the employees that were not FMLA eligible, but the way the code states it has to be included for everyone. So whether they've been here long enough to qualify for FMLA or not, or exhausted their FMLA, we can still grant them a leave. When some of the things we changed in this, our current code said it was for 30 days. We changed it to 60 days, which kind of follows the FMLA policy. But we just want to point out that once this code gets adopted, the regulation we had been using, we had been granting employees leave up through their current contract. So that will need to change to just 60 days also going forward.
It says we could grant them,
You could grant them,
but we don't have to grant them.
correct.
That's correct.
Okay.
But now the way it'll read now, it will include all employees, whether they've been here a year or longer, which is following the state code's guidance.
Right.
And it's also limited to 60 days where we have been kind
As
of,
long as they want.
well, not as long as they want, through their current
The
contract.
Contract, yeah.
Okay. Questions? Anybody?
This is just a first
First
reading,
reading.
we're not asking for
Yes.
approval tonight.
Yes, we'll bring this back next month for approval.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Dr. Clay is going to come back and talk to us about off-site instruction and virtual courses, and you do have a handout for that.
Good afternoon again. So what you have is some updated regulations for policy IGBG, which before was just called homebound instruction, but really is about more than that. So the biggest piece with the regulation change, and I believe Ms. Golson will be doing a policy update based on some updates from VSBA. So the biggest change is the name is actually offsite instruction and virtual courses. So changes are noted in red, and so you can just see it hadn't been updated since 2018. So really the first part is just about making sure the wording is up to date. So it's no longer correspondence courses, it's virtual. So that's the biggest change in the beginning there. And then the other piece that was added that is actually in the policy before but just needed to be in the regulations was that we grant credit for work when it's done under the supervision of a licensed teacher. And it's in the relevant subject areas, a teacher that's employed by the school board, and there's evidence that the instructional time requirements are met. In the actual policy, it is linked to another policy, which is IKFD, because one question that was brought up was, well, some of the virtual courses, you may not get the seat hours, but we have a policy that's linked here that there are some ways around there are other pathways, so that would not be an issue. The big piece that was added that we did not have before was just some regulations for homebound instruction, things that we were already doing. Dr. Joyner oversees that program. So, she and I worked together to make sure we had the correct regulations in place here. So you can see the first thing is about when a student is eligible for homebound, that it's about medical, psychological, psychiatric evidence, and they're normally confined at home or in a healthcare facility for this to be granted. So there is a process in place for that already. And then it goes on to talk about how eligibility is determined in accordance with guidelines from the Department of Education. The third piece is when they receive homebound instruction, they're subject to frequent reviews for the purpose of returning them to regular school as soon as possible. So whenever they can return, obviously that's our goal. And then it goes on to speak about students and continuity of instruction through their IEP or other administrative placement. Then the above criteria do not apply to general education students who've been suspended. So, homebound instruction is not about our students who are suspended. That is very different. And then again, you see number 6 is the same wording that was for virtual instruction about credit for work is awarded when it's done under the supervision of a licensed teacher. So really, we're already doing these practices. It's just making sure, as we think about systems thinking, that it's also in writing. I heard once that if it's not in writing, it didn't happen.
That's right.
Or twice. I've heard that several times.
Under the new state regulations about a student who is suspended or expelled, and we have to provide them
Yes.
instruction, but we don't necessarily do it under these guidelines.
That's a wonderful question. So that is a different policy that we were also updating regulations for, so I'll present that next time. I cannot think of the letters for that policy, but you are correct. It's in the policy about suspension and expulsion. So we have added something to those regulations about how instruction has to continue when they are suspended or expelled.
Okay.
Yes, but that is different. Normally that's going to be virtual through Admentum or things of that nature. Any other questions about the updates? Okay.
No
All
problem.
right, thank you.
You are, okay. This is not Mrs. Robinson
No.
Williams, so,
You got the backup, sorry. Ms. Robinson Williams had to step away. She was hoping to be back, but she did want to highlight the Back to School Bash and some of the sponsors and community vendors that we have and volunteers. Just for record, the Back to School Bash is going to be Friday, August 25th from 5 to 7 p.m. And it'll be in the historic Southside High School Education Center field, just like it was last year. We're going to have food, music, activities, and resources. Some community vendors that she wanted to highlight, the Virginia Education Association, Department of Social Services, Touchstone Bank, the Kiwanis Club, Virginia Credit Union, the James House, the United States Army, the Sheriff's Department, Dinwiddie Sheriff's Department, Molina Healthcare, Creator Health, the Petersburg Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. that right? Incorporated? She used a little symbol, sorry. And then Historic Southside, the Historic Southside group. Also some volunteers, the Virginia Birdies, the DCPS Community Advisory Board, DCPS staff members, and Kimberly Pope Adams. She did want to give a public thank you to the Walmart distribution store number 6823, and specifically Sandra Dishman, for their generous donation of water for the event. So, and just my take on it, last year, if you came to it, it was a wonderful event. It was very nice. I think people enjoyed it. So I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. And I know they're planning bigger and better things for this year. So I'll answer any questions I can, but
I guess we have a rain date in case. I think that happened last year.
We do not. To my knowledge, so that is a good thing for us to look at.
it's not going to rain that day.
We declare that it does not.
That's right.
Yes.
I was going to ask for your approval on that.
Yeah,
Can the
I
board-
approve.
It proves that it will not rain on that day.
Yeah, but it's a really
We will
worth.
need to have one
Yeah.
because there'll be so many resources available for students.
Absolutely. And I think they're, the sheriff's department's
Make sure we do
making
that.
hot dogs and hamburgers again.
Yes.
So it's going to be really nice.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Ms. Golson, do we have any citizens signed up? We do not. Board member comments. We'll start down there with you. Ms. Merritt?
I don't have that much to say, but I do want to let you all know that I appreciate everything that you all are doing to prepare our teachers and other staff members and students to start out with a successful school year.
Well, I'm glad to see familiar faces back. Hope you had a restful and some enjoyment during the hot weather, the springtime and summertime break. And I'm just so glad to see you back. Looking forward to good things, great things this year. And for the team, us and you working together. It makes great friendship. Get a great job done, and Dinwiddie is known in a lot of places. I think I may have told Dr. Weston, I went to Philadelphia earlier, and so I went to where my daughter works, and she said, "You're from a place in Virginia, funny name place." And I said, "Yeah, Dinwiddie." "Oh, yes, Dinwiddie. That's where you're from." She said, your daughter talks about it all the time. You're doing great things. And then I had to start going through the list of the great things that we do in Dinwiddie. So I appreciate you because everything I say, you do it. It's the truth. Thank you.
Ms. Haney?
I just want to welcome everybody back, and I know that we're going to have a very successful and promising new school year, and cannot, thank y'all enough for all you do. I know it's going to be, challenging, but I know everybody can handle it. And Mr. Garnes, take good care of that football team and get us a nice win, okay? Hope y'all have a great time and that the team does well. But just appreciate all that y'all do at the high school and, all that you have done.
I've heard that it's sold out.
Is that right?
Is it sold out? I heard that it was sold out.
I don't know.
It could be.
They moved into the Hall of Fame Stadium.
Yes. I
Did
heard
they
that
really?
So many people.
Very
coming.
good. Excellent.
More people know about it.
Yeah, I know that there's been just a mammoth amount of planning going into opening school and the teacher training, and we know that it's not a restful time for you guys that are handling all that in the summer, and we appreciate the efforts. And the good thing about Dinwiddie County and Dinwiddie County Public Schools in particular is that there is a cooperative and family effort of everybody's willing to pitch in and help each other out. So we appreciate the fact that that's how we are operating beyond us. So thank you. Dr. Weston?
Yes, there's been a lot of great things that have been happening. I can't even believe the summer has come to a close, but I just wanted to acknowledge a few things. One is last week, 60 of us spent a day off-site at Richard Bland in the barn. And other than the temperature, it was a warm, wonderful day. And we did a lot of good work and talked about the future and we'll talk about this year coming up, but also the future and about how we're going to create the future for young people. So it was a great day. I also had an opportunity to attend on August 1st. I went to the transportation department and for the first time, and since I've been here, they were passing out routes to the drivers. And so I was so encouraged by that. But not only that, they were cooking hamburgers and hot dogs and the bus drivers were there and it was really a great celebration. And I have to applaud the team that's working on the routes because they had been working on the routes and then something happened with the system and everything got wiped out. And so they had to start over. And so they're still working around the clock, but we were able to get some of the routes done. And we do foresee them being out next week for all of our families to have. So I'm very excited about that. Dr. Clay and a whole team of teachers and her academic services team have been working on curriculum development this summer. And I cannot wait to see what's going to come out of that work enhancing the curriculum that's been there, but also really thinking more systemically about our young people. And we touch them in preschool and then we touch them when they get to high school. So what should a curriculum look like along the way? And so she's got teachers from all levels working with her on this curriculum. And so I think it's going to be really a great product when it's done. And they've been working very, very hard over this summer. Betty talked about the IDCPS on Thursday and Friday. I went in her office today just to say good morning. And I said, you look a little tired today. I don't think that, she said, I'll be good after this week. She's worked really hard leading the efforts of a big team of people I know has been working with her, but she's worked very hard to pull this all together. And when I got the email about the Masked Singers, I was so engrossed in that, trying to figure out who those folks were. If you all had a chance to look at those, I thought that
Yes,
was
I did. I
quite
looked at
comical,
it,
but I
yeah.
can't wait to find out who they are. That was great. Also had the chance to attend the sixth grade orientation. It was so well done by the team over at the middle school. I thought everything was so well organized. The kids were having a great time, and the admin team did a really wonderful time with the parents, and everything looked amazing in the school, and we're ready to receive kids. And I'll be attending on Saturday. It'll be the ninth grade orientation at the high school from 8 until 12. And so if you'd like to stop by and see some ninth graders look like they're going to high school, I'm going to stop by there on Saturday. So we've got a lot of great things going on. We're just so blessed to have a wonderful team to work with.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or suggestions or things to add? If not, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? We are adjourned and hope to be there to see some of the wonderful things going on over the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
Thank you.